Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you a story that's pretty important to me, I guess. Kind of sentimental to a point, is my Audi RS4. Some of you may know that I used to be in the automobile business back in the day. I used to work at Porsche and Mercedes. It was a dealership I worked at, and it was Porsche, Mercedes, Buick, and Toyota. It was a great dealership. It ended up getting sold, and I went to another dealership after that. But I dealt with a lot of Porsches and a lot of Audis, and basically German Mercedes, stuff like that. I got to really like the cars a lot. I got to drive them a lot. I got to do all sorts of stuff. And I got to drive like a Porsche 928 S4 Callaway version, which is pretty rare. I never saw another one after that. And I got to really like the cars a lot, just the way they drive, how they handle, the speed, and everything about them. But the downside about having cars like that is they are high maintenance, very, very high maintenance. If you don't maintain them right, it turns into a big amount of money you have to spend to keep them going correctly. So this car, when I end up moving, I moved to Colorado for a little bit, and this car came across my radar when I was talking to the wife and talking to a bunch of other Audi buddies. Prior to that, I ended up having an Audi TT, which I caught a lot of shit for, but it was a little fun. It was just a squashed. Reminded me of a Volkswagen Beetle, but just smaller. It was a fun to drive. I had it on the racetrack a few times and all that kind of stuff, but this wasn't the speed I was looking for. That was my first Audi. And then I came across another Audi I liked. It was the Audi A4. It was a 06, I believe, 2-liter turbo that I souped up, put a bigger turbo on it. We did all sorts of stuff. I ended up selling that, which I really miss that car a lot. It was a great little car. And then I started looking at the RSs a lot. And that's when Germany was starting to really bring them over. This one popped on my radar, and I was talking to other buddies who are Audi enthusiasts more than me, and said, yeah, this is a great car, you should get this. I mean, this blah, 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 blah. It has everything you could possibly think of. I'm a wide body freak, like the old Porsche wide bodies and stuff like that, the turbos. And this one's a wide body. Basically, they take an Audi A4, gut it, and take it to another plant and turn it into a hot rod. And if it doesn't say GmbH or GmbH on it by the VIN tag, it wasn't done at that factory. So the wife got this for me for my birthday, and this car, and I immediately fell in love with it when I test drove with my buddies. And it's a V8, 4.2 liter, has just about everything you want on it. It's manual, it's a stick shift, which I love. And it's just the V8, the sound, and everything it has is just, I'm a V8 guy, I'm sorry. We get the car, and we knew it was gonna come into one of the ports. We waited for a while because this is the Daytona Gray, and a lot of them were Daytona Gray with a carbon fiber trim on the inside. Well, I didn't wanna be like everybody else, so I did what they called the piano black version trim. We get the car, and of course, immediately fell in love with it, drove the shit out of it. When I was living in Colorado, we used to take it through the Eisenhower Tunnel as fast as we can. I've been on a few racetracks, Pueblo, and then we took it to Miller Motorsports in Utah. And so one of my other dreams after I got the car is I always wanted to get a car in a magazine. We ended up spending, and it's hard to get a car in a magazine without doing a lot of stuff to it. So I spent just over $100,000 of modifications on this car. And for example, we put in a supercharger, we put in big brake kit all the way around it. We did, 22-inch HRE wheels. We ended up putting a stereo in it, which I kind of regret doing the stereo. I call it the flex capacitor because it adds on a lot of weight. That's the only thing I would have done different if I was going to do it again, is to not do the stereo. But it's got full cal speakers in it, and Moscone amps, I think, is what the other thing is. The first thing I did to the car was I dropped exhaust in it, and it was Miltech Exhaust as a company. And we ended up putting downpipes on it because I just wanted the full V8 throaty popping sound. And you could just smell it. I just love that smell. Miltech, from what I've been told now, since I've been kind of out of the modification of cars lately, has been sold. So they're not as tuned and sound as like they used to be because they were handmade back then. So this one sounds obnoxiously loud in a good way. I used to giggle when we drive it all the time when we got the exhaust. We go through parking garages and make people's car alarms go off and stuff like that. And we used to get a huge kick out of that. I mean, because the wife called it the giggle box, basically. Because every time you hear the exhaust and every time just you see it or hear it, you just giggle, I guess. I don't know. So we did all the modifications, got in the magazine, Your Tuner magazine. I don't think they're around anymore. And we did a big centerfold article on it and turned out great. And then I got invited to go to SEMA. So I was in a company named Snow Performance, which makes ejectors, makes tubing, makes everything. So you, if I remember right, that's what they do. I don't know if they're still in business anymore. I was in their booth during SEMA, and that was 2012-ish, is what I was gonna say. I had it transported by a buddy of mine who transports race cars. He transported down to Vegas. I got to drive this inside the Coliseum, which was really weird because you're going through people's booths and trying not to freak them out with the loud exhaust. So we were in there, and I was also invited to be in the Optima battery shootout. So we had to get the car out of there. We had to get there really early to get the car out. So because we get out of people's way, we got it. On the way to compete at 5 in the morning. We already been in Vegas like 4 days, I think. The supercharged pulley seized up, so I was out. I didn't get to compete. When did all that trouble and that happened. So we had it transported back to the house, everything else, which was fun. We ended up getting it fixed, and the cars ran great ever since. I mean, it's been fantastic. We've done some other modification, which I'll go into later in another video when we do a really big in-depth video, kind of a Top Gear video. A dream car that I've always wanted, that if I was gonna die in a car, it'd be this one, because it's my baby. The thing is a beast. We've done some other little modifications to it, put coilovers on it. Like I said, it's been to Miller Motorsports track, Pueblo. Love to get it to Nürburgring one day, but that'll never happen. It's just a sick, throaty V8 beast that whines when that supercharger goes. And when you get that, you giggle, you laugh. One thing that I was mad about with Audi is we put Euro seats in it, and you can't get those in US. You can only get a certain seat in the US because they don't like the crash in it. It doesn't support it. So we put Euro seats in it, and I had to order them part by part, bit by bit, and had it flown in from Germany to Canada and all the way through. So it was like $12,000 a seat, I think it ended up being. So that's one of the favorite additions that we did. But anyway, I love the car. We'll do a big video on it, Top Gear type video. I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy that. For you car guys that are out there, please let me know if you want more stories of the other cars, more videos of the other cars. We could definitely go down a rabbit hole on the cars and of the stupid things we used to do and things that we can do in these cars. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe and take care.